Do you ever cut your own hair? See, I need to shave and I need to cut my hair. And I'm not keen on going to a hairdresser to do either of those things. I prefer to do them myself. I'm not saying I do as well as a hairdresser could. Hairdressers are trained professionals. I am an enthusiastic amateur. But the problem is that my current clippers, they go up to a number 10 guard. And a number 10 is just a little too short. It basically gives me a crew cut, if that's still a thing. But it cuts my hair really short. And between that and the mustache, I end up looking like a cop or like a really bad undercover cop. And nobody needs that. Okay, clippers, right? For doing my hair, doing my beard. That's what I've got there. And it's a good thing I went and checked. I thought, you know what? Rather than talk about it, I'll show it to you. And in showing it to you, sorry, there's a lot of muck on that. In showing it to you, what I realized is that I actually don't go up to number 10 with the guard. I go up to number 8. And that's really short. Option number 1 is to see if I can find one locally. But it's already late afternoon and I honestly don't feel like spending my entire day searching for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the closest beauty supply store I can find on this end of town. After that, if they have it, great. If they don't, I'm done searching for today. And I'm probably just going to order it on Amazon. Then I'm going for coffee. Then I'm going for a run. And it's supposed to rain this afternoon. Doesn't look like it's going to be thunderstorms, but I'm probably going to get a little soaked out there on today's run. I think I need to put down 15-ish kilometers. So I'm going to be out there for a while. But I have a really good audiobook that I'm going to be listening to when I go on my run. So all is not lost. If you watched one of my other videos where I talked about the hardest sport I've ever done, I made a comparison to I made the comparison by way of saying that the hardest sport I've ever trained for is not the same sport as the hardest sport I've ever competed in. What it came down to was that fighting is the hardest sport I've ever competed in, but it's probably the easiest one to train for. It's the most fun, it's the most engaging, it's the most entertaining. But then you get into a ring or a cage and there's another human being trying to put a hurt on you. So yeah, things get complicated quickly there. But running, oh my God, running. I mean, there's not even a comparison. When you're training for running, it's just one ache after another. So here's a good example. I finished the 50K, feel great. Go on vacation, go canoeing, go hiking, feel great. Come home, start training for a marathon that I'm going to be doing in August. And guess what? Everything hurts from the knees down. I got like arch pain, heel pain, Achilles pain, shin splints, everything. And I haven't ran more than maybe 12, 13 kilometers in any one go. But because of the consecutive days, there's wear and tear. 50 kilometers in one day, no problem. 10 kilometers 5 days in a row, running is a stupid sport. Found a beauty supply store that's on my end of town, which is good. But the problem with beauty supply stores is they're different than like a hair salon or like a beauty supply store that sells shampoo and conditioner and things like that to just regular folks like you and I. Unless you're a professional hairdresser, in which case you already know where I'm going with this. My experience with places like this is that generally speaking, you have to be a licensed practitioner. I think it might be like you have to be, a hairdresser, or you have to be an esthetician or something along those lines in order to even purchase items from these places. So they might have what I'm looking for, but they might not sell it to me because I am not a licensed hairdresser or esthetician. Well, that was a bust. Pretty sure I'm going to end up with a crew cut when all this is said and done. Means I got to spend a month with low self-esteem dealing with my short hair. I mean, I'm not saying this is better, but this has options. You know what your option is with short hair? A hat. I am on my way to get an ice brew coffee. Cold brew coffee? Cold brew coffee. I don't think it's an ice brew. That's something different. Cold brew coffee. I actually get asked quite often about pre-workout supplements. And I always laugh because my pre-workout supplement is coffee. Now, if you don't like the taste of coffee, great. Or if you're the type of person that has to load your coffee up with like sugar and cream or syrups and all that stuff, then you might as well drink a pre-workout because you're just shoveling garbage down your throat. But if you're a black coffee drinker and you enjoy coffee, you can save a lot of money by bypassing the sports supplement aisles and just drinking coffee. I know somebody out there watching this is going to say that coffee makes them poop. If coffee makes you poop, just drink it earlier and give yourself that buffer before you start training. Even that's a benefit. Healthy bowel movements, they're kind of a key to, having a healthy life. So if coffee's helping you along with that, bonus. There's this thing called RPE, rate of perceived exertion, and I track mine. Basically, you give yourself a score. You score how difficult the workout is going for you. And there's a bunch of different scales for this. Some go 6 to 20, some go 1 through 10. It doesn't even necessarily matter which scale you use, but just tracking your RPE can make a big difference when you're looking back over your data as an athlete. And I find, for me in particular, that when I'm drinking a cup of coffee during my sessions, I usually rate my RPE lower, as in the workout seems easier, than I do when I don't drink coffee. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm having a better workout. It might just mean that I'm happier because I'm drinking coffee. That's generally the case in all arenas of my life. Speaking of which, I'm at the coffee shop and I'm going to go in, have my cold brew, then I'm going for a run. You're not coming with me for either of those errands, but I will talk to you after I get back. Okay, running isn't stupid. I was just making a joke when I said that earlier. But I'm not lying. My lower body feels really beat up now that I'm done racing and I've returned to training. I do have a goal though for August, and it's going to require me to set 2 PBs in a row on the same day. More on that later. Even though I don't think running is stupid, I do think running without a plan is a little bit on the silly side because it just increases your risk. And I do have a plan and I am following it. So far, so good. But yeah, I think tomorrow is going to be a day off for me because things just don't feel great below the knees at this point. Don't get me wrong, I'm not actually complaining about the training I'm doing for running. I was brought up boxing, and in boxing, there was a very specific Muhammad Ali quote regarding training, and it stayed with me from the time I was a kid until now, well into adulthood. And even though it was from boxing, it applies to all sports. It applies to all exercise. And basically, Muhammad Ali was quoted as saying something to the effect of that he hated every minute of training, but he knew that when he trained, if he could suffer through it, he would live his life out as a champion. That's not the part that really resonates with me. The part that resonates with me is that training kind of sucks. Training kind of takes a lot out of you. So when I was talking about how running is the most difficult sport I've ever trained for, that's actually part of why I like running so much. Don't get me wrong, races are hard. They're difficult. But when you've done all the proper training leading up to a race, the execution is surprisingly easy. The execution in training, not so much. Good training programs are all about risk management. Good athletes are also all about risk management. It's only the bad athletes that don't do what their program stipulates or don't listen to their bodies that end up paying for it with injuries. I don't want to be that athlete.